If this message has reached you, it's not random. It's not a coincidence. It's because the universe knows you've been standing at the edge of giving up. You've been questioning if holding on to your specific person is even worth it anymore. You've replayed the arguments in your mind. You've lived through the silence that feels heavier than words. Maybe you've watched them walk away. Maybe there's someone else in the picture. Maybe the papers have been signed. Maybe the door feels closed. And still, something inside you refuses to die out completely. That's why you're here. Because even though your mind says, move on, your soul whispers, wait, it's not over. Here's the truth you need to know. What you're experiencing right now is not the end. It's not the destruction of your story. It's the in-between. The storm before the calm. The test before the breakthrough. And yes, it feels unbearable because transformation always does. The world will tell you to look at the surface, look at the silence, the distance, the third party, the legal papers, the hurtful words, and say, see, this is why it's impossible. But those are not the real reasons. Those are the symptoms, not the cause. The real cause is energy, always energy. Every thought you think, every feeling you hold, radiates out of you like a signal. And your specific person is always tuned in to that frequency, whether they admit it or not. They feel it when you're desperate. They feel it when you're waiting. They feel it when you're doubting yourself. But they also feel it when you shift into certainty. They feel it when you decide you are enough. They feel it when you no longer live in fear, but in truth. This is why giving up now is not the answer, because you're not being asked to give up on them. You're being asked to give up on the old version of yourself, the version who doubts, the version who fears, the version who waits, the version who chases. That's the version that is exhausting you. That's the version that is making you want to quit. But the moment you shed that version and step into the version of yourself, who knows? Who knows that love is already yours? Who knows that connection cannot be broken? Who knows that the story is still alive? That is when the outer world begins to shift. Think about it. How many times have you felt them suddenly, out of nowhere? How many times have they appeared in your dreams, only for something in real life to follow after? How many times has your heart raced for no reason, only to discover later that they were thinking of you? These are not accidents. These are the threads of energy reminding you that the bond still exists. And yes, I know the waiting hurts. I know the silence screams. I know the nights feel endless. But silence is not absence. Distance is not disconnection. And endings, as final as they may seem, are often only transitions. Love doesn't vanish. Connection doesn't dissolve. What shifts is the alignment. And alignment can always be restored. Before you walk away, ask yourself this. Are you really ready to give up on the pull you felt all along? Are you really ready to bury the story that keeps returning to your heart, no matter how hard you try to silence it? Or is it possible that this pain is not here to break you, but to rebuild you, to push you to become the version of yourself who is no longer begging for love, but embodying love? Because that's the truth no one tells you. You are not powerless. You are not a victim of their decisions. You are not at the mercy of their silence. You are the magnet. You are the anchor. You are the one whose energy sets the tone for this story. When you shift, they shift. When you embody certainty, they feel it. When you live as though love is already yours, the world has no choice but to bend to match it. And when it does, Your specific person is drawn back, not because you chased, not because you forced, but because they can no longer resist the frequency you've chosen to live in. This is why you cannot give up now, not at this threshold, not when the old story is collapsing and the new one is waiting to be written. If these words are resonating with you, it's because deep down, you already know the truth. Your story is not finished. Your bond is not broken. Your heart is not lying to you. You were brought here as confirmation. Don't give up now. The breakthrough is closer than you think. And if you feel this truth stirring in your soul, write it in the comments. I am ready for love. Let the universe see it. Let your specific person feel it. And let yourself anchor into the energy of certainty right now. You've been carrying a weight, haven't you? The weight of waiting, the weight of unanswered messages, the weight of wondering if they ever think of you the way you think of them. And maybe people around you have told you to let it go, to move on, to forget, but they don't live with your heart. They don't hear the echo that keeps whispering their name. They don't feel the invisible string that still ties you together. And here is the truth most people don't see. When it comes to bonds like this, you don't get to simply erase them. You don't get to pretend they never happened. You don't get to bury the love and walk away untouched. Because when it's real, when it's deep, when it's soul connected, it doesn't dissolve. It waits, it lingers, it transforms. So when you're standing here now, asking yourself if you should give up, understand what you're really asking. Am I ready to silence a bond that refuses to die? Am I ready to close my eyes to the possibility that the very thing I've prayed for is closer than it seems? Look back at your own life. How many times have things looked impossible, only for them to shift in ways you could never have predicted? How many times has the universe surprised you, moving pieces into place behind the scenes while you thought nothing was happening? This is no different. What looks hopeless to the mind is often the very moment the soul begins to move mountains. You see, love is not linear. It doesn't follow a straight line from meeting to happily ever after. It curves, it bends, it falls apart, it rebuilds. Sometimes it burns down so it can be reborn. That is what you are living right now. Not the end, but the rebirth. Your specific person has not forgotten you, even if they act like they have, even if they're with someone else, even if they've chosen silence. Somewhere inside of them, there is a space only you can fill, and that space will call out until it is answered. But here is the secret. They don't return when you wait. They don't return when you chase. They don't return when you beg. They return when you shift, when you stop seeing yourself as the broken one and start living as the whole one. When you stop asking if love will come back and start knowing that it already belongs to you. Because when you live in that knowing, the field around you changes. You broadcast a signal that is irresistible. And without words, without effort, without demand, they feel it, they sense it. They are drawn back, not to the old story, but to the new one you've created. A story where you are not waiting in pain, but standing in certainty. This is why you can't give up now. The old energy is collapsing. The doubts, the fear, the longing, they are being burned away so you can step into something purer, something stronger, something lasting. If you quit now, you stop just short of the moment it all turns. So instead of asking, should I give up on them? Ask, am I willing to give up on fear? Am I willing to give up on the old version of me? Am I willing to give up on the stories that say I'm not enough, that it's too late, that love has abandoned me? Because those are the things you must let go of, not love. Love is the one thing worth holding on to. Love is the one frequency that reshapes reality. Love is the one truth that never fades, even when everything else does. And if you've been wondering whether they still care, whether they still feel, whether they still remember, know this: they do. Maybe they hide it, maybe they bury it, maybe they run from it, but deep down, they feel it, because what you share isn't ordinary. It is extraordinary. An extraordinary love cannot be erased. So stay, hold on, believe a little longer, not with desperation, but with quiet certainty, because the very moment you choose to stop chasing and start embodying, the universe moves, doors open, signs multiply, synchronicities increase, and then, almost suddenly, what once felt lost begins to return. And when it does, it won't be the same broken story. It will be a new one built on truth, on strength, on alignment. The version of you who doubted will be gone. The version of them who ran will be gone. What remains will be the connection that was meant to be. So, my dear friend, don't give up now. Don't surrender to the noise in your mind that says it's over. Don't bury the bond that still lives inside you. This message has found you for a reason. It is your confirmation. It is your reminder. It is your wake-up call that love is still alive and your story is still being written. And if this speaks to you, declare it, anchor it, type in the comments, "I am ready for love." Share this message with someone who needs it. Spread the energy so the vibration multiplies. Because when you declare, when you share, when you embody, you lock it in. Remember, when you shift, they shift. When you choose love, the universe rearranges everything to match it. And when the universe rearranges, your specific person cannot help but feel the pull. This is not the end. This is the turning point. And love is already on its way back to you.